All right, I think we are live. So welcome again on this Tuesday evening. We're gonna get ready to explore Colorado just a little bit. And I'll give us a minute to get signed up and logged in and ready. And wait for some comments here. But Colorado is the place I grew up. It's my home state in the United States of America. And so it's not a state that everyone knows because it's not as big as New York or California. It's not as populated, I should say, but it's really beautiful. It's very special to me and it's my home. So I love talking about it. It's easy to talk about it and fun for me to share that with you today. So let's see, I don't see comments yet. I see we've got just a few people already checked in with us. So that's great. I'm excited about that. I actually, for those of you who are just getting here, I'm not a Colorado native. And so what does that mean? A native is someone who was born there. I moved to Colorado later in my life and I was about 9 years old. So that means I spent the first part of my life in other states in America. But since I was 9, I have lived in Colorado and been from Colorado. So that's where I call home. So I'll put a picture here for us to look at. It's a beautiful sunset in Colorado. It'll come up in just a second. And it's one of my favorite things about Colorado is we've got just a lot of beautiful sunsets. So I'm waiting for that to pop up. There it is. Okay, great. So that's what I remember when I think about Colorado summers is in the fall is the way the sun would set. And it doesn't just set on the horizon here. It sets behind the mountains and that creates this really beautiful picture. And so lots of Colorado things have the color orange and the color blue because we're known by our famous sunsets. So that's what Colorado is known for. It's one of the 50 states. So the United States was founded in 1776. Colorado was founded in 1876. That makes us the centennial state. Centennial means 100 years. And so we're known for coming in just 100 years after America. So not too far behind. And we are, I don't know if I have a map here, but I'll pull one up in just a second so you can see where we are in the United States. And here's a picture. Okay. So if I can just put that image over here. Let's see. Let's see if that picture will come over here. All right. Yes, it will. So that's us there in the middle of America. Okay, we have Wyoming right above us. There's Utah and there's Arizona, New Mexico, Texas, everyone knows Texas, Oklahoma, and then we've got Kansas and Nebraska. Those are the states that surround us. And then here we are right in the middle. So I'm not so there's the Midwest of America, which you would say is here. Here's the East Coast, right? And then you've got the West Coast over here with California and Oregon and Washington. We would call ourselves the West. This portion would be the West. This is the Midwest. And so we would be the West, Colorado. We are fairly big. We're twice the land size of Tunisia. And so that's who we are. So let's explore Colorado just a little bit. And we'll start with this picture. Okay, so this is one of the best and most well-known things about Colorado. It's very high up, okay? You see the word elev right here. It stands for elevation. So we are very high above sea level, and we're proud of that. You can see 14,260 feet. Okay, America's highest road is in Colorado. You can see that we are 4,346 meters above the sea level. So quite a big, quite a high distance to be paving roads and to be driving. But that's what we do. And we are also famous for having a city that is a mile high. So you can see the name there, the mile high marker. So what is a mile? This is something we use in the United States and in Britain and some in Canada. We are used to kilometers and meters and kilograms in Tunisia, and we don't use those in the United States. We use miles, we use pounds, and 1 mile is like 1.6 kilometers. So if you can think of 1.5 kilometers, that's 1 mile. So we have a city, Denver. It is our capital, and we are located in the capital 5,280 feet above sea level, or 1 mile above sea level exactly. So that's one fact about Colorado. And we have air. The air in Colorado, we say it's thinner. There's less oxygen in the air. And so if you run, you need to take more breaks. You need to go slower because the air is not full of oxygen because we're higher up. So it's important to remember if you go hiking and if you go running, it's actually a famous place for people to train, because when they go back to their state or back to where they are from, the air is thicker and they can breathe more normally. So it's something they do for endurance. Okay, so I know I'm talking about lots of things using American measurements, but I want to show you something that you might know. So this here, this is called the Denver boot. Okay, and I see some people watching. Please let me know in the comments how you're doing. If you've been to the United States, if you've been to Colorado, do you know what I'm talking about? I hope you haven't had to deal with this machine today. This is called a boot in English. And what we'll find about Colorado is they're very, very sensitive to the environment, to issues like that, to the right kind of cars, to caring about nature. And so if you put your car in the wrong place in a city, they do not like that. It's $100 fine, and it's not a fun thing. But this machine was invented in Denver and in Colorado. So if this ever happens to you, you can thank the people in Colorado, okay? They invented the boot. So we call it the Denver boot in Colorado. All right. Interestingly enough, Colorado is the one United States state that rejected the Olympics. They wanted to have the Olympics in Colorado, but they said no because they were afraid of what would happen to the environment. So they did that, I think, in the 70s. And now that there's more structure in Colorado, I think they want the Olympics, maybe for money, but that's our history. I mentioned sunsets just a bit ago. And so let's take a look at those. So I've got a picture here of just many different sunsets. This is my hometown of Longmont. Okay, so you can see all different kinds of sunsets here, and just the beauty of what the mountains do there to make the sunset, I think, even more beautiful. So those are all from my hometown. I did not take any of these pictures. Okay, I'm not a photographer, but I sure love looking at sunsets, and I miss that. Of course, we have sunsets in Tunisia as well, and they're very beautiful, but I certainly miss my home state. One of my favorite things is watching a Colorado sunset. Okay. And again, the link is down there if you wanted to reference that and go check them out. But you can always do a quick Google search and see a beautiful sunset. Okay, if you're with us in the comments, what is your favorite place to watch a sunset? Maybe comment that below and say, hey, where do you go? What's the best place in Tunisia? Maybe you're not watching from Tunisia. What's the best place to watch a sunset? While you are writing, you probably notice the mountains and you wonder, is that place warm? Is it cold? Do they have beaches? Do they have the ocean? Well, you saw this picture. We don't have beaches. We have lakes in our country, in our state. The weather can get hot. It can get very hot, just like Tunisia. But because the air is dry and thin, it doesn't feel as hot. And it gets cold and we have lots of snow, and we'll look at some of those pictures in just a bit. But again, the cold is not very difficult, at least for me, to bear. We have, here's a picture with some snow in it there. We have lots of wildlife in Colorado as well. So this is a picture of a deer. We also have lots of elk, lots of bears, which can be dangerous. We have mountain lions, cats. When I say cats, I don't mean little small cats, okay? We have those, but we also have much more dangerous cats called mountain lions. And so when you see one of those, it's certainly not something you want to pet and take into your house, okay? We have to be careful. But again, pictures like this are just, we don't see these things every day, but maybe I would see them on my way to school sometimes. Maybe once a year, we would see something like this in the city. But if you go up to the mountains, you see lots of them. And so some people also go hunting, and I think this guy made it out without any trouble, but maybe some of his friends get hunted because they are delicious. Okay. So wildlife is really important to Colorado. As I mentioned, the environment is something people care to protect for the most part. And so there's a lot of places that are what we call reserved for wildlife. So there's not a place for people to live or to build things, but it's reserved for nature. That makes it really a special place to live because you can go visit parks and go visit some of those places and see what it's like. But it's not all nature. There's also a lot of cities, and it's a heavily populated place. So you've got this picture here of a train station called Union Station. That's a famous station in Denver, Colorado. And you've got just another picture on the outside of it. You can see the snow on the streets has melted. And so you've got a wet, cold evening. But maybe it looks like something from a movie to you, but to me it looks certainly like something I remember and something I wish I could go check out. But yes, it's not winter over there right now, so it's not like this right now. But this is Denver, Colorado. What I love about Colorado is the mixture of this urban city environment and then nature at the same time. And so that's really special to me. You have them both at the same time when you are in Colorado. Okay. Let's take a look here. All right, maybe everyone's just, I don't see comments yet, but if you're with us, let me know. Have you seen snow? Is that something that's normal to you? Is it totally not normal? I know that there are places that see snow in Tunisia, but maybe you have seen it, maybe not. When I talk to people in my classes, they often like the beach. They often like going to the beach for holiday and for vacation, and they wouldn't maybe like the mountains. But in Colorado, all of us like hiking, all of us like the mountains, and a few people would go to the beach on a Saturday. Okay. So Union Station, one of the cool places to visit. Again, Denver is a big city in Colorado. There's another one called Boulder, Telluride, Colorado Springs, Golden. These are some names you have to know if you're going to visit. Breckenridge, get some pictures here of a place called Breckenridge. This is one of those mixtures of nature and city. And so you'll see what we call a ski lodge. A ski lodge. And this is a special kind of hotel and place where you can go and have a vacation. And at night, you can have a really nice meal. And during the day, you can go out and ski or snowboard. You can snowboard as well. And again, just beautiful places to go and beautiful scenes. But it's not cheap, okay? And because I'm not a native, because my parents didn't care about skiing and snowboarding, and as a child, I didn't know, I have never gone skiing or snowboarding, but I have gone to places like this and gone hiking and seen these beautiful mountains. But it costs about $100 a day. And so for me, I would rather spend my money enjoying the delicious food and not going and falling in these cold places in front of all of my friends. But maybe one day I will learn how to do that. Okay, couple more things. We're not famous for food. We have a lot of Mexican food. We have a lot of good barbecue. But one of my favorite things is Palisade peaches. And so this is a special place in Colorado that grows very delicious peaches. And we have every year, you can see people selling them on the highways. And it's a really beautiful, you got a beautiful fruit stand here where they sell them. But if you visit, I recommend coming in September because that's a great time to still catch some of the peaches and get the fall weather. And if you're afraid of cold, you can still enjoy a little bit of summer. So for me, that's the best time to visit. If you don't like the cold. And of course, if you like it, come in December, see what Christmas is like in Colorado, and you'll never forget it. Just a few more pictures here. I showed you that very, very tall road before. This is the highest tunnel, okay? It's named after President Dwight Eisenhower. So it's a very big tunnel, and we go right through our beautiful mountains when we need to. So the Dwight Eisenhower Memorial Tunnel there. And we also have a picture here of a rodeo. And a rodeo is where you can see an actual real life cowboy here. And so you've got a cowboy, you got two, and one of them is holding the American flag, and this is the Colorado flag there. So I have more than a few Colorado things, and if you see me in the wild, you might see me with a hat with this flag on it. I'm supporting my home state. Every state in the United States of America has its own flag, and so you'll see them from time to time. Okay, so I don't think we've had a conversation yet, but I'm here if someone wants to win 2 weeks. So I showed you this picture earlier, and I told you what it is. Does anyone know what this machine is? It was invented in Denver, and we try to take it off. It costs $100 to have it removed, and it keeps you from parking in the wrong spot. Do you know what it's called? Does anyone know? I'm not. There, I see Anissa's comment there earlier. Now I'm seeing them. All right. Do you know what this is called? Yes, Anis, in the north of Tunisia, but it's not common. You're right. Not common to go hiking. Okay, there you go, Anis. You got it. Okay, it's a boot. We call it a boot, the Denver boot. So you can contact, or we'll contact you for you to get checked in and receive your 2 weeks for a trial of our services. And yes, are you a hiker, Anis? Do you enjoy that kind of thing? Maybe someone else can also chime in. Do you like it? All right, while we're waiting for an answer there, yeah, we're really excited to always be bringing up different kinds of topics. If you have a topic that you'd like us to discuss, feel free to mention it in the comments there. We look at those, and you know, one of these days you may see a live based on a comment that you put up there. And he says he's never tried yet. Well, I recommend that you do. If you like snow, if you like the cold, give it a chance. You won't regret it. It's a lot of fun to be able to make your own place of shelter and catch fish and eat them. And there's nothing quite like the great outdoors. So, all right. Well, there's my home state. I'll leave this beautiful sunset on there. It's a little bit better than a car boot. Don't remember us for that. Remember us for this, right? And so thank you all for watching, for being with us tonight. And Colorado, it's a great state. It's a great place to visit. People will tell you to come check out New York City or California. Those are wonderful places. But if you want to see the most beautiful state, I recommend Colorado. All right, so thanks everybody. And we will be back next week with another topic, another live.